Is it working? First about very shortly, what is a bioeconomy key value chain? And then we have a funding landscape and rural-urban symbiosis model and local bioeconomy model. Then we have a Estonian case and promoting local bioeconomy collaboration. And then we have coffee break, 15 minutes, and after that we have a digital market break. Sorry, I forgot to say procurement before the coffee. Then we have a Kiertoa Suomesta digital marketplace and transferability of this marketplace. And then the sustainability assessment and panel discussion. How do we accelerate local circular bioeconomy transition in practice? So shortly, what is this key value chain about? It's unlocking underutilized biobased side streams, and it's agricultural residues like manure, straw, grass, and it's industrial side streams like and municipal bio-waste. Then it's forestry byproducts like branches, bark, and sawdust. And it's connecting rural-urban flows for circularity. Then what is the key outcome number one? It's the local circular value chains, and it's biogas and nutrient recycling models, efficient use of these local materials we have, and then to utilize these side streams for higher value production. Then we made a mapping and logistics optimization, looking for regional resource availabilities and efficient material flow planning. We have made this rural-urban symbiosis model and local bioeconomy model. You will hear it more later. And then we have outcome 2, Kiertoasuomesta.fi digital marketplace, what is a digital platform for buyers and sellers for listings and raw materials circulating for those who need it more. And then we have a new revenue streams for farms by using this platform for easier access to raw materials for businesses. And the number 3 is the policy recommendations. So we have had a policy recommendation for biogas sector development, and we suggest to update the biogas program in Finland and continue investment and nutrient cycling support. And also this has been presented in EU level. And then strengthening biogas in heavy transport, we can improve competitiveness by this biomethane usage. So what is the impact? It is the strengthening local economies, and it's supporting rural businesses. It's extra income for farms and small scale companies. It's new business partnerships and value chain cooperation. It promotes circular economy markets and also increase resilience of local bioeconomy ecosystems. We have had regional pilots in Finland, Estonia, and Norway, and you will hear more about those in coming presentations. Then we have a resource efficiency and climate neutrality. So we reduce waste handling and better utilization of these side streams. And we get more sustainable regional integrated value chains and enhanced nutrient recycling and biogas production potential. Also, we are getting more lower CO2 emissions and get optimized logistics and circular pathways. And why this matter? Because we have a growing demand for renewable energy like biogas and nutrient recycling solutions. We need efficient local material loops and new sustainable and resilient business models. We need to support EU resource efficiency, self-sufficiency, nature and climate neutrality goals. So these all we can tackle when we try to get the bioeconomy working. And I want to show you this video, but the video need to be showed in this YouTube version. So can you open? Huh? But I want to open it in here. No.
Considerable.
No, I need it opened so because only if it's in the internet it shows the subtitles. So if you go, can you go back?
Volume of side streams originating from
Translate that this will work, so hopefully we can get it. Nice video. Always technique is not working as it was meant to be.
a considerable volume of side streams originating from agriculture and forestry operations goes unutilized. However, these could find use, for example, as organic recycled fertilizers that enhance soil health or as industrial raw materials, particularly within the pharmaceutical and cosmetics industries. At the present, of all the fertilizers currently in use, approximately 7% are recycled, and the demand for them is continuously growing. The application of recycled fertilizers substantially strengthens our national security of supply as they offer a sustainable domestic alternative to conventional chemical fertilizers. Organic matter significantly improves the soil's overall growing condition, and in turn, this boosts its resilience to stress and ensures more reliable crop yields. A farmer can earn additional income by selling the byproducts of their production, for example, to the processing industries. Industries striving to replace the use of virgin raw materials with recycled materials such as bio-based side streams. Leveraging side streams offers substantial economic benefits. Concurrently, this approach significantly reduces waste management expenses and elevates the domestic content of manufactured products. Furthermore, bio-based side streams can also be efficiently converted into ecological biogas.
We have this fertilization side streams, and then we have soil improvement side streams. And from the fertilization side streams, we have a wide variety of specific nutrients that we are looking for, because you can't necessarily get all the nutrients in equal amounts directly from recycled streams. But you have to look for a specific nutrient there. In that case, we use potato cell sap for potassium fertilization, especially when we have sugar beets, which require a lot of potassium. That is what we use it for. Then we also have concentrated nitrogen liquid fertilizers. We have used these kinds of booster fertilizers, which are used for the enrichment of the slurry to get more soluble nitrogen in there and slightly reduce the total application rates. And then naturally, we also use quite a lot of manure. So depending on the specific field, what we can apply there. But we aim to use chicken manure, broiler manure, especially if phosphorus levels are low, and then also slurry and dry manure from a biogas facility. The cattle manure is used quite well for soil improvement, especially since it's a bit less nutrient rich. Also since phosphorus can be sourced from certain limestones, we use it for phosphorus fertilization. If we can't apply chicken or broiler manure to the plot, then we use phosphorus rich limes. And on the soil improvement front, of course, gypsum has been part of our efforts, and then also the soil improvement fibers. So these are typically used in plots that are, for instance, located near water bodies. This allows us to reduce nutrient runoff into the waterways, and simultaneously we ensure that the nutrients remain in the soil. That's where these products are utilized. And from gypsum, of course, sulfur has also played quite a significant role in terms of fertilization too. So we are able to utilize various nutrients from different products, and then it forms a cohesive whole, which we then implement in our crop planning afterwards. farmers should genuinely be interested in this topic, because in Finland we have a lot of research and many projects ongoing right now concerning the optimization of recycled nutrient use. So be interested in things and see what might really suit your own farm. So you'll find numerous alternatives there. And from that point, you can begin to analyze if this particular path would be suitable for you. And even if you don't immediately perceive the advantages, they can still materialize in the long run during the most challenging years. And through that, naturally, you can then establish connections with industry professionals, companies, and researchers, and acquire that valuable information from them as well. And cooperation really plays a big role in this, because I didn't have experience in the slurry sector myself before. So we worked with rented tanks and in cooperation with the neighbors. So that cooperation is a really big deal, and mapping out the neighbors a bit to see what things we could do together in cooperation, and clarifying your own situational picture, like what the actual situation with the fields really is, like what nutrients are needed and what the organic matter levels are.
We specialize in the formulation, development, manufacturing, and packaging of natural cosmetics. Natural cosmetics became a significant part of our factory's operations at a very early stage, and from that point we have begun to refine and focus that expertise. Today, we are truly at the forefront in Finland when it comes to natural cosmetics formulation. We are actually the very first Finnish cosmetics factory to have been granted TREASoURcE certification for the entirety of its production process. Natural cosmetics are based on natural ingredients that are sourced from nature. And nowadays, people want them to be pure. They want to know their origin, how they've been manufactured, and if they're local and Finnish, then it's always better. It often comes as a surprise to many that when we are in Finland and Finns are manufacturing products surrounded by Finland's pristine nature, there aren't as many truly Finnish domestically sourced raw materials available as one might initially assume. And there's a really significant demand for much more. And our ingredients that can be utilized in cosmetics can be almost any kind of natural raw material that then brings some added value to the final product. It can originate from plants, from seeds, or from anywhere. The raw materials are truly of many different kinds, and there is certainly a strong demand for them. If only there was some kind of innovative product that would be introduced as something entirely new to the market, I believe that the demand for it would be very, very high. We often ponder and sigh, wishing, oh, if only we had something like this. Yeah, and if only a jar, a container, or a pot would just drop down from somewhere for us where we could store that cosmetics that would originate from the circular economy and side streams. But another thing that we use a lot of is all kinds of packaging material, which is related to the packaging, sending, and transporting of that cosmetics. I could easily imagine that there could be a demand for a completely new innovation to reduce that traditional paper and replace it with something else, which could very well come from the circular economy and side streams.
When we add organic nutrients from these recycled products, Kimmy says, we make the soil healthier. And when the soil is healthier, we have fields that are more resilient to extreme weather conditions. A water protection aspect is also included. So many different perspectives benefit from this. And finally, when there are more affordable nutrients, it also provides an economic benefit to the farmer. So there are like so many aspects that come together in recycled nutrients.
Even very small amounts can be valuable raw materials for another. What kind of byproducts could you potentially utilize?
Okay. Hopefully you like it, our video. And then we will have next presentation. Funding landscape and rural-urban symbiosis, local bioeconomy models, Estonian case, local collaboration and nutrient loops, circular economy procurement, digital marketplace and transferability, and sustainability assessment, and then finally the panel discussion. Welcome, Pirkko. Pirkko is Senior Business Advisor, Circular Economy in Business Tampere, Finland.
Thank you, Riina, and very good afternoon for everyone here. Nice to be here, and great that I have the opportunity to tell you a few things about the funding landscape, especially regarding the bioeconomy sector at the moment. And just for your knowledge, that if you wonder why I'm leaving the room soon, I have to attend also another session this afternoon. So I will be here a few moments after this presentation, but then I need to hop off to the battery session. But of course, if you need anything or you have anything in mind, you can of course contact me later as well. Well, you all probably know, or at least quite many of you, that the EU has now launched the new bioeconomy strategy. I think that this is one of the key elements regarding the competitiveness on EU level, and also the resilience and green growth in the Union. So bioeconomy is a very important topic, and of course from many different perspectives. And what the strategy is focusing on, it's of course putting more and more emphasis on the scale up phase and the investments that we need them secured in the European Union or inside the European Union. And of course, the scaling up and industrial models are of great importance. So not just research, develop and innovate, but also like do business and scale up the value chains within the European landscape. And this is also where the funding is now focusing more and more. Of course, there are like different funding possibilities and funding elements for different types of development actions, but all in all, I think the general perspective is going from pilots and replications to more on the systematic level and industrial scale. So this is something that we are now very much focusing on within Europe. And as mentioned already, the focus is now more on the commercial solutions and like large scale solutions. And of course, if we want to be resilient, we want to be self-sufficient within EU, that is something that we need to also put emphasis when financing the projects and the companies. So of course, the investment security is something that we need to push, that we will get the investments, new investments within Europe. We get the value chains developed with the new European countries and the networks here. And of course, circular economy, it's one key element so that we get to utilize the maturity of the biomass available and also the side streams that we have available. And we find new ways of exploiting them, finding new and more efficient, resource efficient solutions for uptaking the side streams and the waste streams for higher value products. And this is something, of course, which is very important for the SME sector. And the regulation, of course, puts a lot of emphasis on this, and we need faster and more clear instructions and pathways for the businesses to develop. And that is something where the bioeconomy strategy, of course, is pretty much focusing on. And well, if you think about what we have done in TREASoURcE, we have been focusing on these regional demonstrations and replications. And that's becoming even more and more important then in the forthcoming years, so that we we find the ways of utilizing the local and regional materials available in an efficient way. And that also helps us, like in a broader picture, of course, within Europe. And what we were also discussing in the plenary session on the morning, on the enabling facts that we need to make it happen. The same things, of course, also apply for the bioeconomy value chain. So of course we need the markets, we need to create the markets, we need to boost the utilization of the materials, finding new matchmakes, new value chain players, and like the whole big picture to make it work in a bigger and also business-driven way. And there are many types of financing available, as mentioned, and a very good way of thinking about how to promote these things is to find like or make combinations of different types of funding instruments for your work. We will hear more about the business models, especially from the like urban-rural perspective in this afternoon session, and of course also on the local bioeconomy models and how they work, how we can promote those, and how they can be replicated then elsewhere or taking into perspective. And as already discussed earlier, main key elements when thinking of engaging different stakeholders, of course, we need the governance and the public players as well for implementing the solutions. If you think especially from the bioeconomy sector, the municipalities and regions have quite a big role in that value chain. So we need to get them engaged and implement and push the solutions further. We will also hear great examples on the digital tools, for instance, the marketplace that has been created for the utilization of bio-based side streams, and how this can help in boosting and scaling up the solutions. And as mentioned, the data and utilization of data is one key element, of course, also enabling the funding for the future projects. So of course, when we have data and we, or for instance, a marketplace, of course, that makes the things even more visible, easier to attach to, easier to find the materials for you to use, or to find a marketplace where you can sell your side streams, for instance. And this is quite often, from funding perspective, also needed to have this kind of digital tools available or involved, just to make the things you do more transparent and helping in optimizing the material flows, for example. And of course, digital tools are quite convenient also to replicate elsewhere. Then to like conclude, 3 like quite practical takeaways for projects that are seeking new funding in the bioeconomy sector. So as mentioned, we need to think of ways on how to de-risk the things that we do, how to like clarify and take into account the regulations, how we can utilize them for scaling up. What would be the essential partners that we need to involve, what kind of finance solutions, instruments, or a mixture of different funding instruments we can utilize to design the solutions for scaling up. And as mentioned, there are quite a few of different types of instruments for certain type of actions. So just need to clarify what is the right instrument or instruments for your needs, and how to reach the specific goals that you have and the maturity level of your solutions, which suit the best the things that you are working on. And as mentioned, we are of course seeking solutions for our regions, our countries, but how to make also the replications easy and what we can do together within the European players. That's something that we have been working on quite much in the TREASoURcE project, and also the digitalization part is an essential tool for that, and how to define and construct the business cases based on them. I think that was all from my side. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Pirkko. And then we have Magdalena telling about this rural-urban symbiosis and local bioeconomy model.
Thank you very much, Irina. Hello, everyone. My name is Magdalena. I work now for Norwegian Institute of Bioeconomy Research. But actually, I had this pleasure and privilege to work for TREASoURcE in my previous work through Fredrikstad municipality. So I'm very happy to be here and represent the project last time. And the objective of my presentation is to show you a rural-urban symbiosis model and a local bioeconomy model and how this can be used in the practice, and how this can help you to create this value chain and local value. So this is the objective. Let's start from the rural-urban symbiosis. We see rural-urban symbiosis as a multi-dimensional system. And we believe that this system, these two areas cannot function without each other. So they are dependent on each other. And this symbiosis is vital for the society. And even better illustration of rural-urban symbiosis is this graphic made by our project partner MTK from Finland. And as you can see, in the core of rural-urban symbiosis is the resource flows, especially like water, energy, wood products, other resources like side streams and bio-based waste, but also functionalities. For example, tourism and remoting to work, everything is included in this very complex system. And we were thinking in the project how to make a model of that. So the idea was to connect all these functionalities into one system, but to make some kind of guideline how municipalities and other actors can use it as a helpful tool for reflection and overview of their own resources. It should be easy to use, and it should combine all the existing practices. So this was our objective with the rural-urban symbiosis model. And we land on more like guideline for the municipalities. And this I want you to do now. Imagine that there is municipality working trying to invest in bioeconomy, make some kind of value chain, create some new local value. What they have to do. So we created this model based on 4 elements, and we start from resources. And when you think about the resources, the most important thing is to have the overview of what you own, actually, what the region owns. So you have to get overview of the available biomasses. And then you have to do some characteristic of your region. So for example, how long are distances between farms? How is the landscape? Is it easy to transport biomasses between them? And then you have to focus on non-material and material resources. And here we mean, for example, equipment in infrastructure that you are going to use, but also the competences, expertise, everything like that you should be focused on as an employee in a municipality that we imagine. And then this is the place for stakeholder mapping as well. So all the institutions that you have to involve in your value chain. Next element is market, very important element. And here you focus on market demand. What is the need in the market? You focus on valorization possibilities. What are the technologies that are available in your region and how to make maybe new possibilities. Here you also think about the clusters, about networks that you can connect to. And here is also the place for risk assessment. Next element is support. Everything what can support you in your value chain creating is, for example, procurement. This you have to consider very carefully. We also put it here, campaigns to increase circular economy awareness, and this is about to change the behavior in society, to make your society in your region aware of the benefit of circular economy. Here is also, we included one point about the funding landscape, what Pirkko was telling you about. You have to promote collaboration and connect stakeholders. And by that, we mean create the system, not only map stakeholders. And last point here, fairness of value chain of all actors. And here we mean that sometimes it's underestimated who will get the cost and benefit in the value chain. And this has to be equal divided between the stakeholders. So this is very important to focus on. And last element is political element. And here you have to consider all the regulations that are connected to your value chain. You have to be aware of what are the regulations for digestate, for example, what is the difference between waste and how to treat this as a resource. And here we also included this land use planning. So you have to be aware of what is the areal planning available, or what are the plans in your region for that. And all that creates some kind of guidelines that we want to achieve by creating this rural-urban symbiosis model. And when you did this exercise and you have all this overview, you can put this as a report from your work. Then you can use it as a starting point to go more further in the practical way. And this practical way we were thinking is local bioeconomy model. And here we come very down to earth, how to say. And local bioeconomy model was based, or the work on local bioeconomy model was based in Finland. And here I have to say sorry for everybody, all Finnish people, because I have to pronounce some names in Finnish and I don't know them, but it's based in the Pirkanmaa region. This is where work was done. And it was collaboration between municipalities in Hanegro, Manta, Vilppula, and Orivesi. And it was collaboration between partners from these municipalities to create this bioeconomy, local bioeconomy model. And all this work, in this work, we focus on biogas. So the the model is based on collaboration between farmers. So imagine that you have farmers that they are playing the key role here, and they are specializing in both animal-based production and crop cultivation, and they collect or how to say gather each other in one business. And it's important that it's enough farmers to make operation profitable. And but it's also very important to include this consideration about the distances, because it's if there is too many farmers, the distance will be so big that it's not profitable anymore. So we discovered in the project that distance profitable distance for slurry is 20 kilometers, and for dry manure is 30. So it's important to focus on that. And the farmers gather each other in the joint business and create a company through which the model is managed. And then they gather this collaborative partners like municipalities, investors, and actors from biogas market. Farmers produce these side streams, which can be delivered to biogas plants that they own together. And they are getting energy from this biogas plant, so they save some money. And they also can use fertilizers for their own use, so they are saving money on that. But by this income, they can also invest in the refining unit, and then also sell the biogas further, and also recycled fertilizer. Further, they can also include food waste and municipal sludge in their biogas plant. But here you have to also be careful about regulations about using municipal sludge in the biogas plant regarding the digestate use afterwards. This is my personal note. And the last step is also optional, to invest in the solar and wind power batteries for energy storage. This is what we were thinking about, how the local bioeconomy model is working. I think I was into 10 minutes, I hope. Thank you.
Thank you, Magdalena. Then we will have a Tele from Tallinn telling about examples.
Hello, everyone. Now that Magdalena has given you a very nice overview of bioeconomy and rural-urban symbiosis, I have the chance to tell you about the case we have in Tallinn in real life. It's not a perfect case, but it's something maybe useful to know. My name is Teela Joost. I'm the project manager in city of Tallinn, and also project manager in TREASoURcE project. What's about Tallinn? What's maybe interesting to know, in case to understand the example I'm going to tell you about. Tallinn has around 550,000 inhabitants. And sorting bio-waste separately is mandatory to all households, including businesses, from 2024. But as one picture can tell sometimes the whole story, that would be the picture which is made for wall calendars that we produced for 2026. And the story here is that, as you see, a person throws bio-waste away directly to a public transportation which is running or driving. And that's basically the case. that public transportation gets the fuel from our biogas plant. And here is the case shown in different way. The people from Tallinn throw away their bio-waste. It's collected separately and reaches to biogas plant right next to the city. In the biogas plants, we produce biogas, of course, and the byproduct is and inside the product. But before we created that kind of system, which started the creation of the biogas, and the idea started in 2019. Before a main part of the bio-waste went to incineration and landfill because we didn't have many incentives to collect it separately. But yes, the biogas plant started working 3 years later, and it's reached to the maximum capacity for now. So the amounts in numbers, the capacity of the biogas plant is 21,000 tons per year to recycle the bio-waste. The digestate, that was the word I was searching for before. It's 19,000 tons and around 2 million cubic meters biomethane produced yearly, and that gives gives biogas for the public transportation, which can drive 2.3 million kilometers out of this biogas. So here are the key actors in this circle. Of course, the incentives very often come from EU, and I'd say it's the case in here also. The city governance is responsible for making the procurements, to organizing the public transportation, to creating the system. So I'd say policy has a very big role in this. And the system works like that. Bio-waste is separately collected, brought to the biogas plant, where the bio-waste is processed, and result is biogas and bio fertilizers and digestate. And how this system can work and brought to life, I'd say the main reason is that the market demand, the infrastructure and policy was created simultaneously. It's a good solution for many different reasons. Of course, the biogas significantly reduces the CO2 emissions in the public transportation, which the public transportation would create. It improves air quality. It replaces fossil fuels, and it's locally produced renewable energy, which means we are not so much dependent on the global supply chain. And it supports a circular economy. As I said, this is not a perfect solution, and there are some not so good parts also. the system depends on efficient waste sorting. So the quality of the material is dependent on every one of us. There is mismatch of supply and treatment capacity. As the supply is growing, the treatment capacity is already in the maximum stadium. So there is need for another solution. There is still a competition between composting yard and biogas plant, because some of the bio-waste is moving to composting yards still, and how much goes to where, it depends on the market and prices. And there is limited market for the digestate, because using the digestate is not very popular, and it is costly for farmers. So yes, the market demand for digestate isn't that high. So conclusion, waste is resource, and it's important to know that not everyone in Tallinn still knows that. The biogas plant in Maardu has reached its capacity, and they are. I'm happy to share that they are planning to build another biogas plant in southern part of Estonia. Separately sorted bio-waste amounts are still increasing. That's also a good thing. And it seems that due to the waste reform in Estonia, probably it's more efficient to produce more biogas than bring the bio-waste to the composting yard. So that's about this case.
Thank you, Teele. Then we have a Torbjörn.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. Hello, I am Torbjörn Christiansen, and it's a pleasure to be here in Brussels representing Østfold County Council and the TREASoURcE project. Today I'm going to share a case study from Rakkestad, Norway. It is using Magdalena's model, and it's quite a different scaling than we heard about in Estonia. In an era of volatile energy markets and fragile global supply chains, we are proving that bioresilience starts at home. By closing the nutrient loop, we aren't just managing residues, we are securing our own food and energy from our own backyards. Let's start with a short video that brings this circular reality to life. One more click.
In Rakkestad municipality, 3 actors are working together to make better use of agricultural resources. Manure becomes energy, residual products become new fertilizer, and what remains can become new soil products. The goal is a more circular value chain where as little as possible goes to waste.
Jeg jo 4. generasjon som driver her. Vi har, det jo faren min, han 3. generasjon, han sitter jo der I trucken og laster paller. Så vi har holdt på her siden 1949.
The family business has a long tradition of producing soil products for professional growers. Now they are looking for more sustainable raw materials for the future.
I hovedsak så lager vi til gartnerier, yrkesstyrker, og da det, ja, vi har sikkert 100 forskjellige blandinger, som lav pH, høy pH, lite gjødsel, mye gjødsel.
But one challenge stands out.
Vi har jo et prosjekt gående som vi ser på muligheten for å bruke tørrstoffet i kugjødsel. Men vi trenger jo et produkt som kan være med å fase ut torva, eller liksom bruke en mindre andel torv i produktet.
The collaboration with the other actors could become part of the solution.
Det ser jo absolutt positivt ut, da.
On a nearby farm, livestock manure is turned into energy through a biogas plant. Here, resources that might otherwise go to waste are being utilized.
Og vi produserer ca. 2,5 GWh med varme og strøm.
The ambition is to take resource utilization one step further.
Og nå planen å lage oppgradert gass, komprimert.
When the manure is processed, it also becomes better suited for reuse in agriculture.
Så det det som målet, da. Vi skal jo være best i klassen, Norge. Nei da, vi får gjøre så godt vi kan.
At the third actor, residual resources are further refined into new fertilizer products.
Grønn gjødsel en organisk gjødselfabrikk. Her produserer vi organisk gjødsel til økologisk landbruk.
The goal is to improve soil quality and create better growing conditions for plants.
Hovedpoenget med mye av den gjødsla vi produserer rett og slett for å bedre strukturen og miljø og mikroliv i jorda.
The products are adapted to the needs of the farmers.
Bonden kommer til oss etter at han har fått råd fra Norsk Landbruksrådgivning eller noe sånne, eller NIBIO og sånt, eller fra egne ønsker, og så skreddersyr vi da gjødsla som bonden måtte ønske.
Together, they are now working to build a local value chain where waste from one actor becomes a resource for another.
Dette her jo egentlig startgropa. Vi har hatt mange møter med forskjellige aktører som ønsker å starte biogassanlegg, eller som akkurat har gjort det, hvor vi liksom prøver å gjøre noe ut av det som kommer fra bonden og biogassanlegget som bonden har.
The result could be better resource utilization, lower emissions, and new green products from agriculture. A collaboration with a clear goal to reuse more of what we already have.
Det lover veldig godt, egentlig. Vi har nå produsert opp og pelletert gjødsel fra dem, som nå sendt til analyse, og vi helt i startgropa.
Thank you. What you just saw is not just a pilot in a lab, it's an ecosystem developing just right now. We are currently navigating a quadruple crisis that threatens our society. First, energy. Biogas is a local energy that cannot be manipulated or switched off by external powers. Second, critical raw materials. We are almost entirely dependent on imported phosphorus and potassium. Recycled nutrients are our only way to secure a local mine for food production. Third, our failing soil. According to the EU soil strategy, nearly 70% of our land is losing its fertility. Every year, soil erosion costs European farmers approximately 1.25 billion in lost productivity. This is a direct hit to our food security. And fourth, the leakage. When nutrients leave the farmer loses their investments, and our ecosystems, like the Oslo Fjord in our example, face collapse. By closing the loop, we solve all four. We replace imported natural gas with biogas, replace imported minerals with recycled nutrients, and we rebuild the soil to protect us from climate extremes. Our response to these challenges is a shift in how we manage biological resources. We are moving away from a traditional linear model, one that is dependent on imported mineral fertilizer and fossil energy, towards a resilient circular value chain. By integrating these steps shown on the slide, we move from being vulnerable customers of global resources to becoming regional circular producers of our own energy and nutrients. A cornerstone in the Rakestad model is the strategic focus on the post-biogas value chain, when advanced separation of the digestate, nutrient enrichment and upcycling transform raw residues into a new generation of high-valued refined circular products. Enabled and accelerated by our participating in TREASoURcE, this evolving partnership between industry, agriculture, and research is piloting high nutrient recovery and soil restoration. By working to ensure the model is economically viable for every actor in the value chain, from biomass providers to end user, we are developing a model for regional energy and food security that reconnects society with essential resources, from linear to circular. There you see the linear value chains. If you press the button twice more, we get a circular. We produce, we use, we reuse, upcycle, and recycle. And that way we become resilient. While there is significant work being done across Europe on the circular bioeconomy, the Rakista approach is distinct because of its operational proximity. We have gathered the entire value chain from biomass to end product within the borders of a single municipality. It is important to emphasize that we are still in the active development phase. We are currently evaluating specific technologies to find the optimal mix for our local conditions. Because all of our farm partners are farmers themselves, we have the unique advantage of a very short path from idea to field testing. We don't claim to have a finished product yet, but we are building an example. By solving the technical and economical puzzles in the Rakista now, we are laying the groundwork for a model that other regions can use to bridge the gap between green ambition and practical, profitable realization. To scale the Rakista model, the regulatory framework must match the technical progress. We have 4 key recommendations. First, we need harmonized markets. Fully implementing the fertilizing product regulations for new organic fertilizers is vital so organic fertilizers can compete with mineral ones across borders on equal terms. Second, we must shift incentive structures. In Norway, subsidies are linked to energy production or climate mitigation, but we must also reward nutrient recovery and soil health. We need to value the closed loop, not just the energy and mitigate methane reduction. Third, we have to provide legal certainty. Standardized end-of-waste criteria will help turning local biomass into high-value, tradable products without bureaucratic delays. Finally, we need to support regional hubs. Rakista proves that farmer-led local symbiosis could be pillars of food security. We believe that these clusters can become the foundation of a resilient, self-sufficient future. Thank you. You can follow our work on at YouTube or at our webpage, and you can also contact me by mail. Thank you.
Thank you, Torbjörn. Very interesting. And then we will have a procurement part that was mentioned in the panel in enabling conditions quite many times. So this is something very relevant. Jan.
Thank you, Rina. So my name is Jan Bakke. I'm a project manager at the County Authority of Østfold, and I'm going to talk about CE Smart procurement guidance and checklists for supporting the demand for bio-based side and waste streams. So why focus on public circular smart procurement? First of all, of course, it's a strategic tool for building circular bioeconomy for municipalities and regions on the demand side, and an important tool for the municipalities to drive the markets for local bioeconomy businesses and hubs. Municipalities and counties, state, they have significant budgets for public procurement, and thereby they have a good tool and purchasing power to drive circular transition. But how can this be used? So the main areas we have made some circular smart procurement checklists for selected areas related to bio-based side and waste streams, primarily directed at public procurers. One of the main areas is biogas, both in operational vehicles and machinery, but also biogas vehicles used to transport publicly procured goods and services. Secondly, we have checklists on green procurement criteria for alimentary products and for reduction of food loss, and for recycling nutrients from food waste, along with circular, which also contains circular criteria on what is the most high-level circular solution, as you see there. Some key elements or phases in the checklists is that you first need to do a pre-analysis. What are the needs this procurement or tender is going to cover? Do we really need to do a procurement after all, or could we get it from like a reuse type of agreement, or just use our existing resources more efficiently? And other elements are questions for market inquiries. We advise people, procurers, always to do market inquiries to assess the circular readiness for the solutions, products, services which this specific tender will offer. And then we have checklists with suggestions for follow-up actions based on what the responses you get from the suppliers in your local or regional market. This is an example of how it's structured in the checklist. On the left-hand side, there's a question posed in the market inquiries. And on the right-hand side, you see the suggestion for the follow-up actions based on the response given. For instance, here, if 3 or more suppliers or contractors respond that they can deliver all the last mile transportation with biogas, hydrogen, or battery electrical vehicles, then you use it as a minimum requirement, and then we also supply specified minimum requirement specifications, which can be copied directly into the tender. Yeah, and here you see an example, try to visualize on the left. Here you see like three out of 5 they can deliver, and then you use a minimum requirement, and fewer, then you can consider using an award criterion. And a minimum requirement is preferable because it means that if the market is mature enough, then all the suppliers who want to participate in this contract, they need to comply with this requirement. Award criterion is more sort of just rewarding circular performance, but not obligatory. And one element which is very important when working with smart procurement options, and also for biogas, is to use standardized minimum requirements and award criteria, which are used again and again in the same types of contracts, and preferably over a larger area, because this way you create market predictability for the actors, so they don't meet different demands from many different actors. Okay, and now I'll talk a little about what are some barriers and some guiding principles on circular smart procurement and biogas. What we see in some areas now is that investment grants for biogas trucks or vehicles or similar are either reduced, threatened, or discontinued. And in some areas also, politicians are actively prioritizing electric vehicles or similar before biogas, for instance, in public transportation, which takes away a part of the market for the actors. Some key principles to follow, which our checklists are based on. Biogas and electric vehicles should complement each other. They can be good for different uses. One shouldn't sort of be on top of the other. Award biogas, electric, and hydrogen vehicles, fuels equally in a simple system, and only award these kind of fuels, not others. And create consistent and simple principles, which you use over and over again to create market predictability in the area. We've also, with this, with the checklist, we provided you with some guidelines for contractual follow-up to see that the suppliers actually deliver what they have said they want to deliver, and some guidance on what your reactions will do based on if they deviate from what they say they will deliver. Last, we have to cover also this question: does there have to be a conflict always between green procurement and costs or economic thrift? Not always and often not what we found first. If we're reducing unnecessary consumption, or we use LCC costs, then as a criteria, then you can combine green procurement also and economic thrift. And we also have to think about sort of societal preparedness. Biogas in the Nordic regions is always produced from local and waste-based resources. And the price, so you are less dependent on global supply chains and global uncertainty and volatility from external events. And the prices and the price systems are more stable, which means you won't get the same kind of massive price shifts. Okay. And last, I would say that public procurement really is the element which or one of the key elements which bridges the gap between all the bio-based waste streams becoming more of a problem, pollution, and dependency on other resources, to being recycled, reused, and creating a market for new CE products and jobs. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Jan. Then we will have a coffee break. Yeah, oh, I'm sorry. We have very short, but please go out and come back soon. Okay. Then shortly about the digital marketplace Kiertoa Suomesta. So we have made this from waste to value digital marketplace, and it's MTK owned in Finland, Central Union of Agriculture and Agriculture Producers and Forest Owners. And you can go to the website kiertoasuomesta.fi if you want to see the platform more. Key features are those listings for buying and selling side streams, business ID registration, and search and filter tools, and educational content hub. So it is very easy to use. We made some investigations before we made the platform that how users want it to be. So first, it's just go to the pages and look at these listings. And there is a registration and login. It's only email and business ID. And then creating a listing to sell and buy. And there is information about the materials. And we try to be in the middle between the buyer and seller, because the buyer won't put their only, like, I have a something manure or some hay. They don't want to put any details because they want to just add so few as possible. But then of course the buyer wants to know everything. They want to know the quality and amounts and how many times in a month or year or whatever it's produced, and everything, like analysis and everything. So this is the compromising how to put it there. And then of course the trading, and we decided to do it so that it's not in the platform itself, but you can find the information about the sellers and buyers there in the platform when you are logging to the platform. So this is like the login page. It's very easy to use. And we also made the questionnaire about those findings, how the users see it, and they say that it's easy to use. On a larger scale, the marketplace is also promoting the recycling of nutrients and agricultural sustainability, and also security of supply and greater self-sufficiency, as was mentioned also in Teles and Torbjörn's presentations. And also it helps biogas and recycled fertilizer sector to grow when the materials are foundable. And also new innovations through finding that, okay, there is these kind of materials existing. So this connects several stakeholders. There are sellers who can be farmers and processing industries and some kind of other industries. And then there are those organizers and utilizers. So there's like logistics and biogas plants, biotech firms, and municipalities. And then we have these buyers who can be farmers and other companies, small scale, and processing industries, for example, feed, biogas, fertilizers, bedding materials, and soil amendments. So in this, you can see there is a lot of different kind of stakeholders, and also this is only like the minimum way of using it. And you can roughly divide the work on developing marketplace into these following steps, because in this project we have been also focusing on the replicable possibilities for these solutions. So you have to do first this background research, like benchmarking similar platforms in countries as well as abroad, and also tendering for IT company and building up a digital marketplace. It means a lot of work, and many times people are thinking that it is just to do some little exercises in doing, but actually it is a lot of design and development and user tests and failures with some features and doing it again and so on. And then stakeholder engagement, it's a huge part. So we need a lot of different kind of stakeholders involved and also stay with us, that they don't go to the platform and then be there at the first time but then doesn't come back. And the marketing and communication is very key point. So you need quite a lot of money to communicate, that people can know that there is this kind of solutions existing and they can use it when they know it. So what was the lessons learned? We need continuous stakeholder engagement and clear value propositions and benefits, so people doesn't do these bioeconomy actions if they don't understand what is the value for them. They want some money under the line getting for their pockets. And integration with existing services. So it's not useful to do something just because you do, or you just want to get some project to do this kind of platforms or something. You really have to know what is there actually in the market at the moment and go with them. And also the adaptability to local context, as you can hear next how we have been investigating the Estonian part. Then several factors that slow down the more efficient use of bio-based side streams. There is a profitability challenges that has been also mentioned in many of the speeches already. So there is a low market value, and we have to find the solutions how we get these circular materials be more beneficial than the raw materials from abroad, for example. And also there is a relatively small quantities per farm or per company or units. So we have to get those flows together to get the amount of mass that is suitable for the production. And also this market for side stream is still developing. A lot of stakeholders doesn't understand what it means really. So learning is one very key. And logistics and transports. So there is a long distances and dispersed farm structures, especially in the north of Europe. And there is also mismatch between supply and demand. And also they are in different areas many times, that you can have, like in Finland, and I know that in other Nordic countries we have the same problems, that there is areas where is a lot of animals and there is areas where is a lot of just wheat production, for example. So how we handle to get those materials from those farms that are having the manure for those that are not having. And also the lack of knowledge of possibilities. Then Margit will tell us about how we see this transferability. One question, yeah. Oh, yeah, there was a question from Hanne that how is the platform used so far? So we got it ready in summer 23, but it in this development state when we needed to open it because of the project deadlines. So we open it in that ways, but we continue to development, and I think it was like really ready 24. So it is something like 2 years now when it has been ready, and we haven't reached the amount of users that we want to get, but I see that there is a big momentum at the moment when, for example, in EU and in Finland, the policies have developed a lot now, and there is also like speaking about what it means and what we need. That also there has been these changes in nutrient markets at the moment when the prices for fuels has raised a lot. It affects the nutrient also, so it can boost some of these markets also. But one critical is the communication. Somehow we need money to communicate that we have these existing solutions and also get some fears away, because for example, farmers are afraid that if I put some recycled fertilizers to my soil, is it also giving me some problems in my soil, some harmful subsidies in that. So that is something that we have to guarantee, that now those materials that are flowing are poor enough to not get this fear getting bigger. Because if somebody gets very big problemacy, then it will be in news and then it will delay everything. So there is a lot of work to do. No quality checks. No, it's their job, but we have put their note that you have to follow the regulations and also check out the purities. So they have to know themselves what they do.
Okay, then at Taltech, our goal with this project was to evaluate whether this digital marketplace explained and introduced before can work in other European countries, and we didn't focus not only the technological feasibility but also system level compatibility, including institutional, economic and sectoral conditions. So we analyzed how such a platform fits into existing value chains and whether it can create additional value in already functioning systems. So the issue is not lack of biomass, it is more of a coordination failure, because we have enough bio-waste, but sometimes we just don't know where it lies, who owns it, what kind of a bio-waste is it, how much and often is it created, and we do know at the moment that the main users of the bio-waste are agriculture and biogas sectors. But what about the others? That is something we try to figure out. So the digital platform, Lina, yeah, I have so bad memory for names. Yeah, it just introduced you the market platform. It connects producers and users, and it enables visibility matching, the data exchange and the logistics coordination. Our methodology based on sustainable value proposition framework, and we focused on Estonian case. So we interviewed 12 different stakeholders Then we tried to figure out what might be the client's needs, problems, and what the clients actually want. And then we introduced outcomes to the Polish and German participators of workshops. And they also made the brainstorms, and we got the outcomes from there also. And then we did the desktop research of Latvia and Lithuania. So the key finding, and I would say one of the most important finding, is that the existing systems reduce the need. We have the majority of the waste is already utilized, especially in the biogas sector. So actually the partnerships are already quite strong. And it means that that kind of marketplaces are not meant for those sectors or so those stakeholders. More we thought, and not we, but the analysis showed that the smaller waste streams can be used with that kind of marketplace. Then the second key finding and regulatory complexity, which play a central role, especially regarding unclear definitions of waste and residues and bioproducts. In addition, permitting processes are often slow and costly, creating barriers to flexible use of bio-waste. And logistics also remain key constraint due to geographical dispersion and time sensitivity of materials. The enablers, a lack of quality standards. Sorry, these are not enablers yet. Third problem was trust and data gaps. The same issue what you raised about the quality of the bio-waste. No one is checking it. Actually, it is quite needed because the buyers need the information. But it also means that the marketplace should give us the information of all this data. And the low digital readiness is also one of the problems, and that I was talking about earlier in the morning session, because in the case of Estonia, approximately 55+ years is the age of farmers. So the readiness digital capabilities are quite low. And also the trust and trust issues nowadays when we are thinking about the transaction and the data protections. So trust and digital security is, these are critical. User must feel confident in data protection and transaction safety, and also the system reliability. Secondly, of course, the cross-sectoral collaboration is essential for expanding valorization opportunities and enabling also the new value chains. And thirdly, standardized data and quality frameworks are necessary to ensure comparability and reduce uncertainty, and also the integration with existing systems. We don't need any duplicates. All the countries have the potential to start using the digital marketplace, but what actually came up from one survey is that example of Estonia, the readiness to use digital solutions is higher than the readiness to implicate circular economy practices. In Germany, it's quite vice versa. They are ready to go on and practice all the circular economy things, but they are not ready to add additional value for the existing digital systems. And the context is very important. So the digital marketplace, according to our research, works if we have fragmented flows and lack of existing systems. And it rather doesn't work when flows are already optimized and regulatory barriers are high. Policy implementation and implications. Of course, we need to clarify the definitions. What is waste? What is byproducts? When the waste stops being waste, etc., because it is very confusing for the farmers at the moment. And then simplifying the permits, environmental permits need to, the process needs to be shorter and it shouldn't cost that much money. Then to create quality standards of what kind of bio-waste we actually sell. Then to support integration with other similar digital solutions, and also ensuring the funding models. Who actually pays for the development and who actually pays for the maintenance. And final takeaway, it is not a question of technology. It's more like a system level question. Either we can use it or not. And maybe that kind of marketplaces might be more useful for more fragmented and smaller waste streams. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. So there is a lot of potential, but some actions needed. Then we have Alex about the sustainability assessment. And this is also something related to these readiness parts.
Thank you. Yes, so my name is Alexander Koch. I work for Green Delta. We're a sustainability consulting and software development company in Berlin. And we are doing the sustainability assessment part of the TREASoURcE project. And today I will show you some of the preliminary results of the sustainability assessment for the case of the bio-based silent waste streams. Here I have a slide with the goal and scope. So we're looking at especially maybe what impacts are associated with the introduction of an e-marketplace and a rural-urban symbiosis tool, which are the two main solutions worked on in the project, and how basically the introduction of such tools changes the environmental impacts within a specific region. The region that we chose is Hämeenkyrö, Finland. The material flows that we're looking at are flows that are basically affected by these new solutions, such as natural gas, biogas, biofertilizers, and crops and their byproducts. Then also animal husbandry byproducts, forest products, and their byproducts. And then, of course, also a lot of municipal waste, bio-based silent waste streams, such as food waste and sludge. For the assessment, just a brief overview of our system boundaries. So we're looking at especially introducing also new uses or valorization pathways for these bio-based silent waste streams, such as a biogas plant. We're looking at different feedstocks that go into this biogas plant, and then resulting in products such as digestate and biogas, but also looking at the indirect effects. How does this affect our electricity mix and heat mix regionally, the fertilization mix regionally, and also how does using these bio-based silent waste streams have an indirect effect on what those are initially being used for. So if we're taking away the field application of these bio-based silent waste streams, do we need additional, let's say, conventional fertilizers, for example? And the method in the project for the sustainability assessment is quite novel, and this is a method that was developed within the project. So the nature of the project really looks at regional conditions and also engaging stakeholders, considering stakeholder perspectives, and then demonstrating certain solutions, and then learning from what are the challenges, what are the success factors, and this is given to us when we're looking at a wider system. And so we thought that the life cycle assessment, which is the conventional or the classic way of doing sustainability assessment, is maybe not sufficient. So we introduced we developed a framework that also includes system dynamics. In the project, we developed a system dynamics modeling feature in our software, OpenLCA. And with this combination of the two approaches, so lifecycle assessment and system dynamics, we can do these context-specific, wider system sustainability assessments. And I will show you some results now for the specific case. So these firstly, the product level results, so just looking at the LCA itself, and we're looking at the impacts here for the case of having a biogas plant introduced in a region, and for basically processing 1 ton of bio-waste. We have 4 different, we assessed 4 different scenarios. So looking at monodigestion of manure, co-digestion with food waste and manure, grass co-digestion with manure, and then grass gasification. This is a very novel technology, so I will not further discuss this, but mainly looking at the biogas plant results, we see that in that result, monodigestion was the most beneficial from the impact category climate change. And this is mainly because we're avoiding quite a lot of manure field application. So basically the manure does not release a lot of methane when it's just distributed on the field. The impacts are reduced also when, we're also including the digestate, which is eventually also applied to the field, but those impacts are lower than the direct field applications of manure. And then we took a step further. So those were just the product level results. And we built a system dynamics model. We're looking at the region Hemenkere and Finnland because this was a region that is considering installing a biogas plant and new valorization pathways of bio-based silent waste streams. We collected data on what feedstocks are available within that specific region, and basically also then built a model that introduces new valorization pathways. So we have a biogas flow and a fertilizer flow, and not only these common applications currently, which are applications such as field applications, animal feed, animal bedding, and so on, and also disposal, for example, of food waste. And then we linked this with the indirect effects such as the electricity market and the heat market, but also the fertilizing potential of all the fertilizers that are then made available. And with this model, kind of initially only modeled a more static scenario. So for now, we're just looking at, okay, what happens when we're only introducing this plant and the capacities of a biogas plant changes, and how does the flows, the feedstock flows change due to this change, but everything else is staying the same. So the feedstocks don't increase over time or decrease over time. It's supplied evenly over the years that we're modeling, and also the market conditions stay the same over time, And this is something we want to then also explore in the next iterations of these calculations. But for now, the results are showing, that we have these material flows or these feedstocks in the region that have the most potential. So we have cereal straw, pea stems, potato tops, sugar beet tops, and then sheep and cattle manure, as well as food waste and sludge. And when we introduce, we have this time scale here, and we're assuming that in the third year we're introducing the biogas plant, and we see that the feedstocks, some of the feedstocks applied to the other applications, so field applications and so on, decrease and are then used for the biogas plant. And then some of them which have a lower biogas potential are not used and are continued to be used for the other applications. We're thinking, okay, when we're introducing this biogas plant, how does the fertilization in the region change? And it actually we showed that the fertilization potential increased with the introduction of the biogas plant. We are taking away field application manure, but we're introducing digestates, which have a higher fertilization potential. How does the electricity mix change and the local heat mix change? So we have a local electricity consumption mix for Hämeenkyrö with also mainly hydropower, wind power, nuclear and natural gas. And we assume that, okay, when introducing a biogas plant, we have an even reduction of the other energy sources. Same goes for the district heat mix. And how does this now reflect in the environmental impact categories? So for the climate change, so when really looking at all these different perspectives and all these different streams, the overall impact of the region can be decreased. So this is basically so the year in which the biogas plant is introduced, and we see that in the scenario with the biogas plant, we have a very significant reduction of environmental impact of climate change, of the climate change impact. In the status quo scenario, this is basically the impact. And the reason for this is mainly because of the effects on the electricity mix. So we don't see much of a change with the fertilizers. So we have the manure and the grass that is applied to the field. This doesn't change much, also because it's overcompensated a bit with the introduction of digestate, which also applied to the field. But this dip is mainly because you see these two large contributors, which are basically the electricity and the heat mix, which is significantly reduced as we're replacing fossil fuels such as natural gas and other energy sources. In the other impact categories, so we did not only look at climate change, but see an improvement in acidification and also in resource use. Obviously, fossil resource use is also, again, mainly linked to the energy mix, but there is an increase in ecotoxicity, fresh water. This is because the digestates leach a lot of ammonium, and so this is a trade-off. So in summary, introducing, now just looking at the case of introducing a biogas plant, it can significantly reduce the impacts for the region in several impact categories. There is a higher impact from the perspective of freshwater ecotoxicity. The induced change, or the main reasons for the reduction, is mainly due to the heat and electricity mix. Yeah, and then of course, as I mentioned, there's not much the change in current applications does to the total impact change, but there is a higher overall fertilization potential, so there's a higher function of the entire system, basically. Yeah, but like I said, these are preliminary results. We're going to look at we're going to now model different scenarios until the end of the project, and continue basically with this modeling approach. If you have any questions, but that was my part. Thank you. This is true. Yeah, so the question was whether a system can be sustainable and circular at the same time, kind of. And of course, we want to consider circularity indicators because we understand that, thinking a system to be sustainable automatically when we think about circular economy is not always correct. And this is also shown in this approach of system modeling. We see that there are indirect effects. There's indirect effects onto the market, and this can induce, an overcompensation or rebound effect of circular economy's benefits. But of course, it is also beneficial to keep resources within a system, to circulate resources. And that's also the benefit of this approach of system dynamics. We see how material flows change. We see how material flows stay within a system, within a market, within a region. And this can indicate basically the level of circularity of certain flows. Yeah. All right, if there's no other questions, we can continue.
I just found that I left my notes to the 8th floor, but it's nice that Tran has it here in the computer. So welcome our panelists. Stefan was not able to join anymore, but we have Tele and we have Magdalena and Randy. I saw you came, and Tran.
Yeah.
Can you test the microphones?
Yeah. Hello.
Can you test also that microphone?
Hello. Yeah.
Yes, working.
Good. Yeah.
Okay, so we have Tele Joost, you already heard her, and we have Magdalena here behind me, where I should be, that I'm not.
Maybe you can sit in the.
Yes.
There.
Wait, probably I can sit.
Yeah.
I am not in a very odd position. And then we have a Randy from Senior European Advisor, Energy, Climate and Environment from Oslo region. And we have Tran from VTT Finland. And so the first question will be for you that what are the most significant practical barriers local actors face when adopting circular bioeconomy solutions, and which incentives or behavior insights have proven most effective in overcoming them? So how do you see, Magdalena?
I think that sometimes we are looking for answers that are very complex. We try to find solution and overcome these challenges in very complex way. But in reality, when you go to the farmers, for example, and you talk with them, the answer is very easy. What is the barrier? And they always ask like, how much money I can save on your solution, or how is it worth the effort that I do for that? So I think the most important thing in this project we develop is also to focus on how we can prove these benefits, how we can measure the benefits for farmers, and how we can show it to them. So I think all these tools that are helping to collect data, for example, and to help to visualize these benefits are very important. And I want to raise another behavioral barrier that I notice working with farmers, and that I noticed that they hear to each other more than they hear to institutions. Of course, it's very logical to find out that. And even our Norwegian Agriculture Advisory Service has problems to struggles to convince them that the solutions we deliver are measurable enough to apply, for example. So I think there is a hope in the way that we recruit for our projects the farmers that are a bit like champions, like they are very eager to check all the solutions. There are individuals like that are very happy to be in all the projects, and they are spreading this sharing these solutions very easily with others. So I think this we have to focus also. Okay, sorry, I take too much time.
No problem. But I think that was two highlights. So we need cooperation and trust.
Benefits.
Yeah, benefits, money, money to the pockets. Yeah. How about Randi? What do you think about this?
I think that I totally agree with Magdalena that the picture is complex, and for that reason, it's also interesting to direct attention towards governance, because circular bioeconomy solutions, they depend heavily on cooperation across sectors such as energy, agriculture, but also construction, waste, and industry. And I noticed that several Norwegian regions are challenged by the fact that existing governance and funding structures often are very sector specific, which is slowing systemic innovation down, unfortunately. Despite the innovative potential and many initiatives taking place in regions across Europe, these remain isolated from each other, failing to create a real momentum for circular economy and systemic change. So strategic coordination is often lacking, undermining the real potential to contribute to circular economy. And for that reason, local or regional facilitators are much needed. And I know that we already have good examples of initiatives that have proven to work very well. For example, in Finland, where you have the Helsinki Uusimaa Circular Hub, which I know that has inspired also many other regions to see how you are bringing actors from different sectors together and actually manage to create value chain initiatives that are very efficient and attractive.
Yes, true. How about Tele? You would say something like regional aspects.
I think a lot of depends on if we have political will. So if we have political will, then the policymakers can make their goals to mandatory, and then we can move the sector where we want to. But if but to get the policy will, then we need sometimes to translate our translate language, translate our aim to the language that everybody understands. So if money is the language, then we have to talk in this language and make make the benefits seen in that perspective. So yes.
Money talks.
Money talks.
How about you, Tran, with the
scientific perspective? And so
Yes, so I think from my previous research, I have interviewed both the primary producers biowaste, like such as the farmer, and also the industry, like who processing the waste. And I see like there's one gap that's like when I interview the farmers, they say that they have a lot of waste, but when I interview the industry, they say that they are lacking of the feedstock. But why? Like it's because the quantity and the quality is not enough. So the producer they have a lot of weight, but it's not cannot meet the quality for the feedstock of the industry. So yeah, so someone needs to bridge that gap. So that is why I think the local bioeconomy model can be like a good solution to bridge that gap. So like someone need to act in between, like to collect the waste from the farmer. I think that the farmer will be very happy if someone like can collect the waste, and if it turn into the good thing, it will be very like happy for them. But for the industry, like they have very quite high quality for the feedstock because they do not want to upgrade the product afterward. If you have bad quality, you will need to upgrade it afterwards. So the quality need to be high. Yeah, so as I said, like the local bioeconomy model, someone in between and someone do the pre-treatment so we can connect the waste from the primary producer and it can turn into the feedstock for the industry producer. Yeah, so I think it's good to, yeah.
Yeah, then we have to find who is the middleman
Yeah, who
there.
is the middleman? Yeah.
Okay, then the question 2 is the enablers and local models. Which digital tools, market mechanism, forms of symbiosis or public procurement approaches have shown real impact in your region or projects, and how can successful local models be scaled or replicated? How do you see, Randi?
I think for public authorities at the local and regional level, of course, public procurement is a very, very important tool that they have access to. And when you think about that, around 15% of all procurement in Europe is actually public procurement. You see that here it's really possible to create change. So that's also the reason why municipalities and regions now increasingly use procurement to create early demand for green and circular solutions. I think there is a very interesting project that just started, an initiative in Sweden from the region of Dalarna, who is now having like a 12-month policy experimentation journey which aims to integrate circular procurement as an instrument into the innovation portfolio of the region. And after 1 year, then they will produce a manual of procedures for public buyers in the region. And I think this kind of really like practical documents that show like tips and tricks from experience is very interesting and also can be shared with other regions, of course. And maybe you have to adapt a bit so to make sure that it fits with your own municipality and region's need and starting point. But still, this kind of best practice, it's very interesting.
Sounds very good. I have to look that for. Okay, so how about Tele? Do you see what is like in an Estonian case? What would be? Is it the markets or?
I think in that case, which was I was talking to previously, in this case, the public procurement has a very important role of creating this urban rural model and because when we wouldn't have the public procurement, which by what we procure the fuel to public transportation, and with the criteria to to like help the biogas to the market, and without that, we wouldn't maybe have that kind of case even for.
Yes, true. I see that we have only like 1 minute left, but let's still get 2 comments from you both. So, Tran, what you want to highlight for these enabling and local models?
Yes, I also agree with everyone that the public procurement can be the main driver. So it can create the market. Like, I think, for example, like the biogas, like if the government have some incentive, for example, for the biogas car, for example, it can create the demand for producing more biogas from the biowaste. And I think it can be the problem of the energy security as well. So, you know, when the war is happening and the energy is lacking and we need the energy production, so biogas can be in favor condition. So people may invest in this. So I think public procurement, yeah, and energy security can be the driver. Yeah.
And Magdalena.
Yeah, I will be monothematic a bit because in Fredrikstad, the public procurement also make the biggest change. Actually, the combination between public procurement, access to the infrastructure, and industrial symbiosis in Öra area. It was a combination that make the biggest change in the early 2000s when public procurement created demand for biogas, and this was justification to refilling stations. So everything came from that and from this industrial symbiosis that we have in Fredrikstad. But I want to, if we have only 1 minute left, I wanted to finish, like, if I feel a bit down sometimes, like starting to be frustrated if circular economy actually is working and its future, then I remember this quote I have heard in one presentation once, that humans has made the linear systems, and human can do circular systems because we can undo the linear and make it circular. So there is some work to do ahead us, but I think we will be there soon.
That
Thank
was
you.
a good conclude. Man have to do the job. Yes. Okay, thank you everybody. And now we should applaud and head to the 8th floor where we have still wrapping up and some little sessions.